ready, man?
Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Yeah.
What's up, chiropractors? This is Dr. Silveri, your guide up the mountain to $1 million practice. If you're looking for the roadmap to grow your practice fast, then keep on listening. This is the Path to $1 Million podcast, where I chat with today's most successful practicing chiropractors. And remember, if you want to get there faster, visit getmemorenewpatients.com to find out more about Leverage Media, the most comprehensive digital marketing agency for chiropractors on the planet.
What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media. Welcome to another episode of Path to $1 Million podcast. I'm here with my new buddy, Dr. Michael Viscarelli.
Appreciate it,
we are in the most rustic gun room I've ever been in my life. We just had I feel like I'm in City Slickers.
That's right.
Like you're Curly and I'm Billy Crystal, whatever his character is, and we're like, coffee on the stove, and it's like it's a whole thing out here, man.
Yeah.
You've got quite a spread.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So for those people that do not know you, for like the 5 people that don't know who you are, give them a little background. Where'd you go to school?
Sure.
Where you practice, and then
sure.
kind of what you're doing now.
Well, I was born and raised in Northern Maine.
Okay.
My mom and dad were originally from New York City, and so they moved up there. My dad used to hunt up there, so we moved up to Northern Maine to raise us, and from there, I met a chiropractor that I enjoyed him. He was a nice man. He was positive about everything. Not practicing necessarily the way he wanted to, but I didn't know the difference then. And so as the path would evolve, ended up down in Atlanta at 𝗏 University. And I graduated and came out and opened my practice in 2012 in beautiful Golden, Colorado.
Nice.
And haven't looked back since, man. Chiropractic has blessed our lives, and it's blessed a lot of lives through our practice, and we've enjoyed it very, very much.
That's great. So a mutual friend of ours, I did a podcast interview with him on Wednesday, Joe Schmidt.
Yep.
He said because he launched and blew up really quick.
Yeah.
And I said, what was it that you were doing before you launched that helped be successful? And his office is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you design all this? And he was like, well, I went to 100 different offices and just looked at what they were doing and blah blah blah.
Sure.
And I said, well, what was the best office you'd ever seen? And he was like, oh, Michael Viscarelli, hands down. And I'm
That
like,
was really cool.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to
Yeah, totally.
because I'd never heard your name before, which I want to get into that because I think
totally.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, you are a co-founder of 𝗵𝗄𝗏, and so anyway, I had him introduce us. And you were kind enough to let me come in and see the practice, and your staff showed me around.
Yeah, it happened fast.
It was like yesterday.
I was buying my wife a present. I'm like walking into this house to buy her something off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
And I get this text, and I was like, I hadn't heard from Joey in a little while, but I'm connected on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. And I'm like, oh, really? Cool. Yeah, man. If you want to see the practice, come on by. And then you're like, hey, man, I want to sit down. I'm like, I never invite anyone up to my property.
I feel
I just
blessed,
never. Tara's like, you're having them come up to your house.
Yeah.
And I'm super private about that,
Yeah.
And so when she said you're having him come, I was like, well, you know what? We don't really know each other. He'll really get to know me fast. You
That's
know
right.
What I mean?
And I may never leave because my truck might be stuck. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Is that rental 4-wheel drive? You're like, man, I barely got out of Vail. I was like, well, you're not going to get here. I'll pick you up at the end of the driveway.
I got halfway up the driveway.
There, man.
So anyway,
further than most.
So I go to your practice. Your office this is how nice your practice is. Your office is so nice that you weren't there. Your associate gave me the tour that you give to new patients.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, do you mind if I record this as a video and you just give the tour to the camera? And he's like, I don't think I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how nice.
Yeah.
We have to keep how nice it is under wraps. We can't let anyone see our ideas.
Yeah.
Man, it is and your wife is a designer.
Yeah.
It is just, if you like this style, if you like country Americana rustic, it's as nice as it can get.
I appreciate that, man. And all credit to Tara. She's one of the most talented, most humble. I mean, you would never know that she's got that skill inside her.
Yeah.
And she's done it across the country. And it's interesting. We have just millionaire business owners come in and get under care in the practice, and they're like, I want Tara to come to my home and do my home.
Yeah.
And the dean of schools at Colorado School of Mines, the dean of students at Colorado School of Mines, he's like, Michael, I want Tara to come and do my home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you just never would know that's in her because she's just so humble.
That's
I
awesome.
appreciate that, man.
I hope that she will be kind enough to come onto the podcast.
I think she would. I think she's
to
such
be
an
the
introvert.
design expert.
Dude, she's such an introvert, man. She's gonna be like, I can't do that, Michael. And I'm like, you know, artists are like that, you know, and I'm like,
yeah.
baby, be so good at it. You're so genuine and wholesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's great. I tried to really manipulate that wholesome nature of her, and I've gotten a little bit of headway on that. But
That's
I'm
great.
definitely not the wholesome one.
All right. So you started in practice when?
2012, so about 7 years ago.
Then 7 years.
Yeah.
All right. So with Path to a Million,
which is weird to say.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Man. Yeah.
I wish I'm a little bit disappointed because we didn't record like us hanging out having coffee before this, because man, there was a lot of value there. So hopefully we can like grab some of those nuggets back out. So with the Path to a Million, like I explained, 0 to 250, 250 to 500, 500 to a million, above a million. Yeah. So you exploded through all of those basically within your first year, right? Yeah. So let's talk about each stage and really like what the needle movers were at each one of those, and just pick like the biggest mover. So 0 to 250, you guys are getting started. What was the thing that really catapulted you?
Well, man, it was really our marketing plan out of the gate and our conviction for it. And so we executed a reckless marketing campaign out of the gate. It allowed us to collect just under $20,000 in our first week. Wow. Cash. We weren't in network with the insurance companies. We were just running and gunning, man. Yeah. And our first month we collected just over $30,000 without insurance. We had some out-of-network billing that we're going to do, and you know how that goes pending and such. Mm-hmm. But I want to tell you this. I think that the biggest thing that we did in that first 0 to 250 was we wouldn't let our foot off the gas. I mean, we were going to pursue this at all costs. We weren't going to buy anything. We weren't going to take any time off. Mm-hmm. We were going to hit our goals and our marks. And then once we did, we were going to raise our head to take a breath. Yeah. And that was our conviction, myself and my wife. You know, we brought out people to help us open. We didn't hire beforehand. We were going to do the work, and we were going to know every intricacy and intimacy of our practice and our procedures before we imparted that into other people. Yeah. And so I brought out students. I brought out graduates that hadn't opened yet. We brought people out to serve alongside us, which also allowed us to impart and teach them. And I think that the best way to learn is to teach. And so we were teaching them along the way. So we had one from that first set of goals, we had one policy non-negotiable was that we would have our heads down, pushing forward for 6 weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. And then we would go and out for like a nice dinner. We would go do something to reward ourselves. Nice. And then we put ourselves back down for 6 weeks and drive forward. And push. We didn't travel. We didn't take vacations. We didn't do anything in those first 12 months to achieve. You know, we had our first $100,000 month, 7 months into practice, all cash. Yeah. We broke $1 million in our first year very quickly. Yeah. And it wasn't stable. I want to be very clear about that. And there's some things we can talk about that. It wasn't stable in that 12 months. I mean, it was just radical growth. Sure. And so it was really catching our breath. I told you that when Jeremy and I sat down after our 13th month, Jeremy Hess, my best friend and mentor, man, I slept for like 3 or 4 days the first time we traveled. We just slept for 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. It was just reckless abandonment to get to that point. So talk to me a little bit about that marketing plan when you did launch, because I think I read somewhere, or heard somewhere, you had like 175 new patients week 1. We did. So I knew that the average chiropractor saw typically under 100 people a week. Mm-hmm. And none of us want to be average, bro. You don't want to be average. I know you don't. Just talking to you for a little bit, I know you're nothing but above average and well beyond. So for us, the biggest thing for us was that we wanted to create a wave of momentum that we just had to keep going. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I knew that if we dug in deep, we could keep that wave of momentum. And the thing about momentum is it can take days, weeks, months, years to create momentum. And it could take a moment to lose it. Yeah. You know what I mean, man? You could take a blow in practice and just get smoked. And it just does something to your spirit and your demeanor and your energy. And you just start to play small, shrink down. And so I was very cognizant of that. So we executed a 90-day marketing plan before we opened the practice. We did everything and anything possible. And that's what we've taught so many young chiropractors and students today. And have been able to reproduce that in order to put some sticky appointments on the books. Mm-hmm. And we opened with 174 new practice members our first week, in our first 5 days. Not our first month, not scheduled completely. Yeah. That was just in the first 5 days. We were open from 8 till 8 every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We saw 178 total visits that week, which was pretty cool. Which means that, you know, many of those were new people, and then many of those were coming to get their first adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
We broke 300 visits in our first month, in our first 4 weeks, and it was onward and upward from there. We maxed out at 1,400 visits in our first year. 1418 is the most we've ever seen.
What month did you hit that in?
We broke 1,000 in my it seems like it's going back, man. I don't get asked these questions as much ever because we produce people that are doing this all the time, so they don't ask me anymore. They're asking the young bucks.
Right.
And so I feel like an old man now. We broke 1,000 visits in our 7th month.
Yeah.
And so we broke 1418 at the 12-month mark.
That's unbelievable.
It was,
and so that was the highest.
And a lot of people didn't believe it, but there are people. You know, I had docs there in my practice serving alongside and observing when we broke 1,000 in 7 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Holy crap!" You know what I mean? I was like, "Holy crap, dude!" I couldn't pick my head up. There's just people moving in every direction.
And you said that 1418 was your highest.
Yes, sir.
And that's really a testament to, like you said, like for these 12 months, we are not going to pick our heads up. We are going to just grind. And
my goal was 750 in the first year. I was trying to be modest. I thought I'd break through, but that's what I wanted to do. That's what I saw set before me, right? And so that was our goal. And when we did it in 7 months, I didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Like, I actually started to step back. I almost felt bad for my friends that were striving for that and we passed. And it was hard on my relationships. It was hard on me because I would just call and share, be like, "Dude, we did it, man, we did it." And they were stuck at 400 and 2 years in. They're like, "Man, I don't need you calling me right now." That's some of my best friends said that.
Wow.
And then we'd regroup. You know, they're still my best friends today.
Yeah.
But I was like kind of insensitive because I was so excited. And I thought we were all excited. But we weren't all excited. And I understand why. I totally understand why. Because it's happened to me now. Where people are doing really well. And I'm like, I'm in this dry season of practice. And I'm like, what the heck? You know, man, don't call me with that crap, dude. I didn't have 400 new ones this month. You know, it's like so pissed at me. I'm like, hey. But you know, we all celebrate each other's victories.
Where are you at right now in terms of visits?
So we linger between 600 and 800 visits a week.
Yep.
And I would say we were right at 800 steady. I could have like walked in 5 minutes before we opened and left 5 minutes after, and we'd stay right at that 800 visit mark.
Yeah.
And then I think we made a couple bad hires mixed with a lot of my focus being needed outside the practice on other businesses. I want
to make sure we talk about that too, because you got a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of desire to just be with family.
Yeah.
A lot of years of just pouring out and not getting filled back up. That was my fault. Mm-hmm. You know, self-care. And wanting to just kind of be here. Like, just be here, man.
Yeah.
Be with the animals, be with my children, be with my wife. There's nothing that I enjoy more than just being here with my family.
Yeah. You mean the ranch?
Yeah.
Like, this is a spread.
I appreciate that.
Like, it's got, like, there's goats and chickens and horses all over the place. There's barn cats that are trying to
totally
get in.
Did. Like, we're overrun. But it was this weird thing. I'm one of the most extroverted lover of people that I know, man.
Mm.
I just love being in conversation. But there's been a time where I'm just like, man, I just want to be with my family.
Sure.
You know, and it's just constant pouring out where it's like I'd get asked to speak on a stage somewhere, and I'd tell Jeremy, I was like, Jeremy, I said yes, but I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just don't want to get on a plane again.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I get it, man. I get it. But yeah, man, it's your purpose, bro. He's like, move the needle. You know, he's all like, you prick. While he's like smoking a stogie at his beach house. I'm like, dude, you know, so like easy for you to say yes. You're just sitting there smoking a stogie while you're telling me this. I'm like rushing through the airport to get to this flight.
Right.
So there was a multitude of things as a young doc, a young businessman, a young dad that I was like, man, I didn't know how to vet some of that stuff. You know what I mean? And so the practice came down to about 800 and stabilized in that range, which I was perfectly fine with because my sole purpose wasn't the four walls of my facility.
Yeah.
My sole purpose was our profession at large, was seeing others achieve what we just achieved, and we've gotten them to do that and more.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's Dan Wallace in Fort Collins that broke my first week record. He called me in Dallas. I'm crying with him. I just did a talk at Parker. He's like, man, I don't know. I don't want to tell you something. And I'm like, dude, this is fantastic. And he just couldn't believe how excited I was for him.
Yeah.
And that's a stud.
I feel like you're always excited. I'm
excited, man. Well, you know, we drank this freaking coffee. It was like tar, man, cooking it on the stove.
It's like you're chewing grounds as you're drinking.
It's like you got a chaw in your mouth while you're drinking the coffee. So you know, we're just so excited to see others accomplish it.
Yeah.
That was my sole purpose.
Yeah.
My sole purpose was never to live and die in this four walls of practice, get all the glory because my practice. You know what I mean? And then if my son didn't take it, it died. You know?
I feel like, you know, there are times where I see people kind of sniping at chiropractors that sell their wisdom to other chiropractors.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, you know, I mean, maybe there's some bad apples out there, just like in anything.
Yeah, there are.
But man, like, there's lots of people, like you and I are testament to that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to influence more people than just 10 miles around, you know, 1000 South Durkin Drive, Springfield, Illinois.
Totally.
Right? And the only way you can do that is to help other chiropractors. And it's like, who better to help chiropractors than other chiropractors?
Yeah,
so
I felt like you're right on, because I felt like we had credibility because we were doing it in this economy, in this generation
That's
of healthcare.
important. That's important. Yeah.
In this generation of chiropractic, we were in the trenches doing it on a day in, day out basis. So we could say, hey, listen, we're utilizing this technology, we're utilizing these marketing approaches, we're utilizing these systems and procedures, and it's working well. And it's not just working for me. We're talking about unicorns and outliers. I'm not a unicorn or outlier. I am to a degree, but you don't need to accomplish what I'm accomplishing. But we can get you very darn close, if not beyond it, in who you are and in your strengths, in your genuineness, right?
Yeah.
And that was huge for us, and that's why I for myself, for Jeremy, for others, I knew that we could impact more people, get more testimonials if I could help other people accomplish their goals and their dreams. And man, that gets me jazzed. Just
to give some context around what you just said, the purpose of shit, I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I'll get it. So I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say. So when we got together as a group of friends, our goal was never to promote ourselves. That's going to happen organically. When you help others, the tide rises all boats, right on? And so my desire and our friends' desires were just to see chiropractors do well and do really well.
Yeah.
And so guys like Dr. Joey down there in Castle Rock and such, and all over this country, Josiah, all over those guys, we had a hand in their success.
Right.
And I love that. And most people haven't heard of me because of the fact that it wasn't about me. It wasn't about Jeremy, it wasn't about our leaders, it is about our group, and our group is chiropractic.
I know what I was going to say. We were talking about this before, that you can't create systems for the 1%ers.
Right.
You have to create systems for the people that are in the middle, that don't have to be special flowers, that it's going to work, whether it's what we do with the content marketing or what you do with systems and procedures and growing big practices. 100%. You have to do it to where somebody who doesn't have the most charisma in the world can still be successful, because if you're dependent on the coolest kids to be successful, it's not gonna work for too long, you know.
Well, and the reality is not everyone's gonna have a beard, want to wear flannels and boots and practice and be, you know, super outgoing and doesn't mind going to a talk where there's only 2 people on a Friday morning, or do an event at you know, a church across town. I would go anywhere and everywhere, right? And I didn't care who I was speaking to. I'd share and be like, okay, cool. 1 out of 2 were there. 1 out of 2 committed. It's cool. It was worth my time. Yeah. That one could refer their whole family and and always believe that way. Yeah. But you know, we you know, not everyone's gonna want to be some bearded, you know, horseback ride. You know,
but man, if they see you, they want to become that.
Well,
because
that may be true.
Because they see how well you pull it off.
That may be true, but the reality is, I want them to be their best expression of themselves. Yeah. That may be a single white female in practice with no husband that's a chiropractor, no spouse to help them start the practice, and is going to eventually get married and have children. How do you do that? You know what I mean? And there's ways of doing that well when it's wrapped around a process or a principle that allows people to achieve that no matter who they are. But there's some intangibles that they need to have. Crazy work ethic's one of them. These people that want to shirk the work, to me, man, it doesn't matter what you give them as steps to walk out. If they're not willing to do it and they don't want to get out of their 4 walls, or if they don't want to have those tough conversations with patients, practice members, staff, or what, if they can't train themselves, how are they going to train a staff? Man, I'm telling you, there's some intangibles that this generation's facing that we literally have to overcome on a regular and daily basis.
Yeah. So Man, you always like get me going on a different tangent.
I'm sorry,
so I gotta stay focused to give the people what I promised.
I'm telling you that.
All right, so give me one marketing thing that you think was the most important on that launch phase, that 0 to 2 phase.
Networking.
So talk to me about the networking.
Yeah,
I
no
heard
doubt.
somewhere you did 90 events, 80 events in 60 days, 90 events in 60 days, something like that.
Yeah.
So when you
networking, those were just networking meetings. I did more events.
That was just like one-on-ones.
Bro, the 80 and 60 was, I was 60 days away from turning the key and having people walk in the front door to be served. Yeah. And on my first day, I saw people, they were just talking about this week, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. I had somebody come in that this woman came in, she goes, I couldn't believe they just got referred to us from about an hour away. Really nice mom and daughter. And it was their second day, and she goes, I'm standing outside on a Thursday morning. You have like 50 people outside the door at 10 a.m. And the day that you came in. I'm not normally there on Thursdays. I just came in to see them. Yeah. She was in line waiting to swipe their card. And this other patient goes, that was the same way it was on that first Monday morning when I started. This guy has been with me since day one. And he goes, I thought I was standing outside getting Justin Bieber tickets. That's what he said to this old man. I thought it was so funny. But with that being said, that 80 and 60, Nick, the 80 and 60 was networking meetings. Meaning like group meetings and one-on-ones, just turning the crank. Yeah. I still did screenings. I was still out doing talks. We're still knocking on doors on those days, dude. We did everything and anything. We collected over 12,000 contacts in 90 days, man.
That's crazy.
Just crushing it. Why? Because I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. Yeah. So I could create this wave of momentum and ride that wave and make sure that I didn't just focus on the first week, that we still had events, opportunities, and people scheduled for the next 30, 60, 90, 180 days in a practice. Mm-hmm. There's no stopping us. Yeah. So when we went to 1,400 and then came eventually back down to 800, the only reason we came back down to 800 and didn't go to 2,000, I guarantee it, was because we started Amped. Because we started Mind Tweak. Man, we went out and started saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to die in these four walls. We're going to help you do this. We're going to help you do this. You can do it too, man. Yeah. You can accomplish your goals. And so my practice was what was suffering. And why it suffered down to 800, right?
I don't know how you scratch out a living.
But hear me on this. Was it because it became a training facility? It's like, yeah, you can come and get reps, man. You're a student in third quarter. Come and get reps.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you can observe this doctor. Yeah, you can keep me up till midnight talking about everything when I should be doing reports and back with my wife. Yeah. You know what I mean? But she was on the mission, man. Yeah. She was on the mission. So with that being said, it came back down to 800 at that time, but went up in finances, right? Because we got better at that, and we got more refined at that. Yeah. And so when it came back down, then we had some bad hires, and I saw that sucker start to come down below 600. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so then I was like, man, we're going to push this thing back up. So once we started to get settled in all the other stuff, now it's all right, man, we can get back in the trenches and really develop that team, train, and push it back tomorrow. When you've been there, you know how to get there again.
So you got 12,000 contacts in how long?
90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
That's
boots on the ground, bud.
Yeah.
I didn't have your agency, bro. There's no social media marketing except for me being like posting pictures of the drywall going on, man.
Right.
That was it.
Right. So when you say knocking on the doors, like you're talking about knocking on the doors of like houses in your neighborhood.
Any door that I can see, bro. If it was snowing, man, because I opened in May, but my marketing was all the way back to March. Yeah. If it was snowing, man, we're in the malls, right? Yeah. If people were working, we were at the strip malls outside. Mm-hmm. We were going downtown, knocking on businesses and introducing ourselves, asking for advice and growing in rapport, right? Yeah. And explain that once they asked, oh, we're opening a small little chiropractic. So I knew it was going to be the biggest damn facility in the state of Colorado, right? Yeah. Danny Knowles has nothing on us, all those cats just teasing that. I knew we were going to the top. That's where I wanted to be. Yeah. And so we would have those conversations and just share humbly about a little bit what we're doing, but we're asking for advice, building rapport. Yeah. And then after 5 o'clock, man, then we're going to the residences, the neighborhoods. And if they wouldn't open the door and they wouldn't, we would put a door hanger on the doorknob, man. Mm-hmm. They'd say no soliciting on the door. I'm like, maybe I can't read. That's not in Spanish. Right. You know what I mean? I say, I'm going to the door. And we were going. They'd open the door and I'd be like, hey, my name's Dr. Michael. And they'd go slam the door and I'd like chuck a business card right inside the door, man. You know, they'd like stick in the sheetrock. I'd huck that shit so hard because we just wanted to make an impression. Yeah, yeah. And we did. Was the door knocking, resident to resident, fruitful? Maybe not for what you can see on paper. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. Maybe I wasn't getting appointments scheduled by doing that. No, I wasn't, man. But what it does for your spirit.
For you.
Oh, yeah, man, of leaving it all on the ice. See, I grew up in Northern Maine playing ice hockey. Yeah. And my dad would always have these conversations with me, Nick. He'd be like, Michael, I know you lost. I know you're pissed. I'm pissed. My dad doesn't take losing easily. I mean, he's a short Sicilian Italian, looks like Super Mario, and he was a plumber, and he's an ass kicker. And my father would say, Michael, I'm pissed too. You should have won that game. He's like, did you go to bed early last night? Sure did. Did you eat a good meal? Sure did. Did you get up early, Michael, and get what you needed to be on so you could focus on the game? Sure did. He's like, did you study film? Sure did. Did you practice hard all week? Sure did. He's like, when you got on that ice, man, he goes, did you believe you were going to win? I'm like, sure did. He's like, did you leave it all on the ice? Did you literally do everything you could to win that game? Sure did. It's like, just got beat by a better team on the day, Michael. Not better players, not a better team for the season, just a better team today.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And so you just apply those principles, bro, in practice.
Yeah.
And it was like knocking on door to door when you could have just said, let's go home and watch Friends or do something, or take a nap, or just get in a fantasy football league, or, you know what I mean, get online and waste time, or play video games. You could do all those things, bro.
Yeah.
But did you leave it all on the ice? That was the question I'd ask myself every day, because at the end of the day, I yoked Tara out of Georgia, where she was from, where she had a business, where she had the support of family.
Your wife.
Where she had the support of the finances there. I yanked her out of everything she knew, and I took her to the mountains of Colorado, away from her family, away from mine. We knew nobody, bro.
Yeah.
Leveraged everything we had. We sold everything we had and went all in. Took no bank loans, took no money from family. Nobody saw us off. Her mom and dad didn't come to us because they didn't want to talk to us for taking her daughter out of Georgia.
Yeah.
And we came out here and we leveraged it all. So she was all in. I was all in, and it was all in full faith. So we had to leave it all on the field. And that's what I'm telling you, man. Going door to door, it does something for your spirit.
I'm ready to start knocking on some doors right now.
I'm ready to
run through this wall and knock
Can I
through
explain
the doors.
to you something? Let me show you something. This is Americana. I love cigars. You love cigars?
I love cigars.
All right, I got cigars.
Yeah.
So we should have smoked cigars and done this. But listen, I would be like, this is my steering wheel. And I'd be in a neighborhood. And I would sit down first, and I would write down the address of every single house, all the way around the horn. Address. So then I would carry this with me, and when I'd meet somebody, I'd write down their name. So I could mail something to them, personalized. Write down their name if I got to meet them. I'd write that all down, and I'd be sitting there, do like this on the steering wheel. I'm like, get out of the car, Michael. Get out of the car, Michael. Get up. You can do this. Get out of the car. I didn't want to do it, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. Who the hell would want to do it?
Why would anyone want to do this?
I want to do it. I'd just be like, I'd be like, and Tara's sitting there being like, she'd go if I said go. She didn't want to do it either. So it was up to me to say, let's go, babe.
Yeah. No one likes rejection.
No, dude.
No one likes to be a weird chiropractor knocking on doors.
And people would say, oh, you shouldn't need to do that. It's not professional. Man, tell me now. You saw the facility. Is it professional?
Unbelievable.
We're kicking ass, man.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's hard. It was hard, man. But the network marketing was the very best for me. And why? Is because it's relational.
Yeah.
You go and you listen and you show up and you're professional and you listen to everyone else's introduction, and then it's your turn. And you share in such an excellent professional manner, so clear, confident, inspired as to what we do and what we represent and what we're going to deliver to this community. And you deliver it and you set yourself apart from everybody else. Yeah. And then I go sit down one-on-one and I'd hear your heart and let you speak the entire time. And then when it was done, if we had 5 minutes left of our one-on-one, they'd finally ask me something about myself and I'd be ready. And I'd share something about the practice and the mission, what we're looking at impact and change in this community, how that's going to benefit you, not just me. And then I'd share. And then eventually, after doing it for months, they would say, Mike, right out of the gate, they'd be like, Michael, you're gonna share next week. I'm like, no, I'm not ready to share. I'm not ready to share. I want to hear from everybody else. And I'd kick it down the road. Why did I kick it down the road? Because I get close to my opening. I build relationships and rapport and walk in excellence the whole time. And right when I got close to my opening, we would deliver a talk and schedule the whole room, and not just the people in that room, but in their entire family, and we'd move them to the front door. Nice. Right on, brother. Yeah. And so that relational aspect of it was where I would excel. You know,
I heard you say that you were running for community chiropractor. Yeah. I've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah, hugging folks, kissing babies.
I'm like, that's it.
Yeah,
that is it. That's such a good way of putting it. And how do people run for office? They knock on doors. Yeah. They meet people. Yeah. They go to small groups.
They touch them any way that they can. Not inappropriately. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The politicians may. Yeah. But we know.
Right. Know. But I just think that is such a... If you take that mindset into it, then all of a sudden you're willing to do anything. And I don't want people to think that it's like... I love that you were like, head on the steering wheel, Because like they might think, oh well, you know, he likes it.
No, I don't.
He likes doing it.
No,
nobody likes doing that stuff. So it's like it's not about whether you like it or not.
Yeah, no way.
It's
no way.
whether it's the thing that, because again,
requires.
it's almost like a test to yourself of like, are you willing to do everything?
There's a misrepresentation starting from the school system all the way into practice by other organizations and everything in between. And the misrepresentation is this, is that you're going to graduate and you're fully equipped and you should be able to go in there and walk into the four walls of a facility, hang your shingle, and people are going to come to you.
Right.
There's no way, man.
Yeah.
There's no way. That's the recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You got to go meet the people, get the people. So that's why we say to students on campus, it's like, hey, listen, I know we're hosting this event, and you want us to host this event, you want us to come and speak, but you're having a hard time getting butts in the seats. If you can't get people that believe what you believe into the seats of something that could enrich their lives, how do you think you're going to get it to happen in your community where nobody cares or knows anything about you and has a preconceived notion of what chiropractic is and how it's maybe harmed them in the past?
Yeah.
How are you going to take them from that mindset to not what chiropractic was, but what chiropractic truly is in your four walls? If you can't exercise that on campus, you're going to have a hell of a time exercising it in practice.
Right, like,
and it's a challenge.
Chiropractic students are much easier than regular
100%.
So normally, like when I talk to people, I'm like, all right, you got 0 to 250 in the first year and 250 to 500 in the second. You blew through them so fast that you're probably at 500 in the first like couple of months. So let's say instead of like that segment, after that first 90 days,
yes, sir,
and you guys were just rocking and rolling, what was like the next thing that you did? Now that you're busy and you don't have as much time to do a lot of the one-on-ones, be knocking on doors, what was that next phase that allowed you to take that next step?
I think what everyone has this misconception of is that they want a family referral-based practice out of the gate.
Yep.
It's hard to establish referrals when they don't have a testimony. And before that, you don't even have a population to draw from yet.
Right.
And so we knew we were going to do guerrilla marketing in the marketplace. And I made sure that I was not open on Fridays and Saturdays because I knew I needed to be in the marketplace every single weekend for at least 12 months. Nice. That was the goal. Yeah. So I knew maybe I'd open those hours on Saturday. Incidentally, we opened Amped. And guess what Amped did? Caused me to travel every damn weekend. Yeah. Moving forward, my son had been on over 200 flights in his first 2.5 years of life. Wow. So, I mean, we were flying... 3 years left. We were flying everywhere. I was bringing my family with me because I want to be with my family. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, well, that's what my weekends got consumed with. Yeah. So that's how you go from 1,400 and settle way back down a little bit, which I was okay with because my bigger mission was our profession. So with that being said, we wanted to start stimulating internal referrals and a lot of them, right? Mm-hmm. And so what did we do? We started doing patient appreciation stuff. We started doing community dinners. Our community dinners then became our bread and butter. Okay. We would do 2 a month. And I would want 50 or more at every single one of them. And they were all internal referrally based. Wow. There was no social media lead dinner funnels. There was none of that. Mm-hmm. There was no, there was nothing else. All you would have had was social media to build it if we weren't doing it from internal referral based dinners.
So that's good. Would you get 50 pretty much at
almost every single time, but except for on Monday Night Football when the Broncos were playing. That was a huge
that's
prepaid seats. I was like, well, it's 65 people. There's 8 of you, and I paid for 65 seats. I was like, I kill the Broncos. That's lesson learned, bro. Now funny. We do it. What we do on Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football is we host it on all of our TVs in our waiting room, great. Bringing pizza, and people can bring guests, and so we're still gonna capitalize, bro.
That's really good.
I haven't caught back up yet though.
Yeah. So what is your like how do you invite somebody to the dinner? Like, give me some tips on how to get somebody to not only come to the dinner but then bring a guest.
So absolutely. Well, they know that their ticket to the dinner is one of two things: is bringing a guest or guests or sharing their story. That's how they get a free meal.
Nice.
And so we just explain, and at this point, our practice members know our heartbeat for our community, and we don't do dinners as frequently anymore. Yeah. But with that being said,
because they know that it's a mission-driven practice.
That's right, 100%.
And they're trying to help you with that. Not so much you're trying to like force them into coming to listen to you. I always saw it as an opportunity for them because they're proud of us to show us off. Yeah. And so most people, when it came from percent, I'm like, I know you know people that could benefit from the results that you received in this practice. From maybe what you thought chiropractic was to now what you understand chiropractic is and how that's impacted your lives. I'm sure you could probably rattle off 5 or 10 people right now that could benefit from what you've received in this practice, Nick. I don't want you to try to get 5 to 10 people. You can if you want. But I want you to think about those 1 to 2 people that you think could use it the most.
and I want you to bring them to that dinner. It's an opportunity for you to come and fellowship with them, get a free meal at a really nice venue. And what we're going to do is we're going to share for a couple minutes. There's nothing for them to buy there, not even dinner. And we're going to sit down, we're going to come around, we're going to meet each and every individual person, find out if this is a good fit for their lives. So it's dinner on us, but really on you, if you will. Bring them in, we'll sit down with them, and we'll see if it's a good fit. And so when we would give people the opportunity to see that they were sharing the message, but what they were doing was that they were having a hand in getting people well, because they were the ones that bridged the gap from the marketplace to our facility. I think that they saw it as an opportunity to show us off. I think it was an opportunity for them to have a part in their healing. And I think when you spoke to those heartstrings, it happened a lot more frequently. When I'd have people try to do it for me, when I would have people try to build dinners where there wasn't that connection, I saw a different crowd show up. And it was less sticky. There was less follow through. And so the best dinners that we've ever had was when we were marketing them from the back of the office, from the adjusting rooms to the patient. They'd come back from a reassessment and they're doing great. And they'd be like, man, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you. But how many other people in our community could benefit from this? If it was their children, speaking to the fact that more children could benefit. And then giving them an opportunity to take action. Those dinners are always great action takers.
That's such a good way to do it. Speaking of testimonials, one thing that I really like about your practice and like the brand is the aesthetics are always so on point. Like your testimonials, do you have like a professional photographer come and take, because they all have like kind of a similar feel.
I don't know if you noticed, all those posters are hanging down our hallways and such. That's our Mind Tweak company, but going down the hallways, those are all people that are in our practice under care currently. And so posters on our walls will change out when necessary. If people that are up there are no longer with us, we'll change them out. So I'll be like, what I tell patients, I'm like, you're going to see a lot of pictures and posters and pamphlets around this practice. These are people that have actually received care in our practice, are still currently receiving care in our practice. The reason we do that is because we don't want paid actors or actresses, you know what I mean, that are like, it's a black and white thing, commercial until they take that pill and now they're running through green pastures with a beautiful blonde on their arm. I'm like, it's all paid actors and actresses. We want real people sharing real stories from patients for patients, so that you guys can understand you're not just hearing it from us, you're hearing it from our community.
But I guess my question is...
With the pictures, yes, we did a professional photo shoot.
I just think it makes it seem... It's so much more professional.
I appreciate that.
Than just like, all right, hey, let me grab my camera real quick and stand in front of that wall, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to be super awkward.
That's so old school chiropractic, and that's okay. Sometimes we have those, and it's very organic, and there's in that organic nature that's beneficial. But even when we do photo shoots for my team, we'll bring my team up here with their spouses. We'll cater it. I'll get the photographer, and you see there's nooks and crannies all over the place. Get awesome photos. Bring out the old trucks. They sit on the tailgate. They love it. I couple it two ways. We're doing it for our website and for our social media marketing, but also we're going to do that, and you and your husband and your families can get your Christmas card done. Right? You and your husband can get his headshots done for his business cards, for his website. And so it's the same way for our patients. Like when we did that, we cater it all, we bring them all in, and they get their photos done for their family and for our facility.
That's so good.
Yeah, and so man, it builds community.
It does, and
they love it.
It's like those little touches. It all makes it seem that much more high level. It feels like a different place because you do things differently. You know,
you got to understand too. Average Joe, you know, for us, getting a photo shoot done is probably not a big deal. Spend a couple $100 to $1,000 in a day, whatever. But most people, it's a luxury to get a professional photo shoot of their family or themselves. And so when you give them that and you let them approve the pictures, man, they really feel blessed about it. And then it spills through the four walls of the practice.
I figured there was some really good trick to it. Not trick, but like some strategy to it. And that makes total sense. And it's like they're giving you a testimonial that's going to help you grow your business, and then you're giving them something in exchange. I think
they'll have forever. That photo
shoot,
they'll have those pictures forever of them and their family.
And you're right. They're not doing photo shoots every.
No, man. I forget where I was in the mall recently. We were buzzing through the mall doing Christmas shopping. Some guy at a kiosk like, hey man, family photos for like $75. And Tara's like, that's got to be probably pretty cheap for people. And it's like in front of a screen, like we used to take class photos with our kids.
It came up, you know, like the pull down thing.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it reminded me that it's probably not normal for people to come up and take pictures with little Broncos or with horses and animals. And you know what I mean? And so it's a blessing. And we love being a blessing, man. I'll tell you this. I feel like one of the biggest marketing things that you can be good at is actually having a heart of service for your community, bro.
Right.
You can't fake that shit.
Right.
And people want to fake it all. I don't know if I can say shit.
You can say
okay,
you
okay,
can say
okay,
fuck
okay.
shit, whatever you want to say.
What is that from when he's like earmuffs? Anyway, so listen. With that being said, I love the Lord, but I've got a dirty mouth. But with that being said, you can't fake that stuff, man.
No.
And people want to fake it. It's this obligatory service that they're like, man, I'm going to work to just and blah, blah, blah. And that's where it starts and ends. For me, it doesn't start and end there, man. Yeah. I mean, I went in on Wednesday morning. I went in on Thursday morning. I called last night to check in on this girl. That was a referral from a very high-end family in our practice. Has been trying to get his pastor's wife and their children under care for a long time in our practice. And now, unfortunately, the daughter's going through something, and it's something big. And now they're turning to us. And he's like, man, she only wants you. And I'm like, it's fine, man. He's like, but I know you don't work those days. I'm like, it's fine, man. I'm there. Mm-hmm. I've gone on Thanksgiving to adjust a patient at their home, and it's like we've been driving out of town to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, just for a weekend, and I've gotten a call from a patient. We've turned around and we've come back, man. Mm-hmm. You can't fake that stuff. You can't fake the heart for people. So people can. It's like when a dog can sense fear, right? I'm telling you, patients can sense insincerity like that. Yeah. The community will sense that, exploit that, and be done with you as fast as it ever started. Yeah. It'll be over as fast as it started. And so you can't fake that. The greatest marketing tactic, in my opinion, that exists is sincere heart for service. Yeah. And we're coming through a generation of people in chiropractic that's getting back to, I want to work less hours and make more money. I'm not against that. I get that. Mm-hmm. But there's still ways to do it and see hundreds a day. Yeah. There's ways to do that and see hundreds a day. You told me. You're outside the practice, over the practice, managing it. You could put 50 chiropractors in there and have a facility that's a campus, right? Yeah. If you want to manage it to do that. Yeah. But most people, they get caught up on the fact that if I'm not doing it, it can't be done. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so then they say, well, I only want to see 200 visits a week and I want to try. But if they can't get somebody to pay $30 a visit and see 500 people seeing 30, they're not going to do well at seeing 200 people paying $80 a visit. Mm-hmm. It's a value thing. It's an ability to communicate and educate and do it sincerely to serve people. You can work whatever hours. That's right. I could, like, if I didn't have leverage, I could do nothing. Yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? That's right. And my practice still runs. That's right. So it's not that you have to be the one that has to see the 1,418 people. That's right. You just have to set up the systems. You have to focus on building a business, and then you can do whatever part of that business you want. Whether that's managing it, like I do, whether that's seeing all the patients, some of the patients, whatever you want to do. Right, but the whole I can only work what I want to work. Every time I look at when I do a strategy session with chiropractors, one of the first things I look at is what your hours are, and it's always Monday, full day, Wednesday, full day, Thursday afternoon, Tuesday morning, off Friday, Saturday. Yeah. I'm like, that's great, but you're missing out on a lot of opportunities for people that want to come in. All those hours. If your desire is to fill those hours, and you got to be able to fill those people into those hours, you know what I mean? And I think that people are missing the boat, that they think that they have to, I don't understand where chiropractors thought that they only had to work 3.5. Yeah, that's always been weird to me. It is weird. You can work 3.5 days a week. I'm still very on board with 3.5 days a week. Yep. Just have somebody else who works the other 3.5 days a week. Then you got 7 days a week, and it's all great. 100%. When you said service, I'm such a big believer in that. That's why we do content marketing in the agency, is because the way I look at it is community service. The way I look at it is it's your job to educate people, whether it's one-on-one, at a screening, at a dinner talk, or using the modern methods of communication. You've got to be educating people on how it is that you can help, what makes you different, what chiropractic's all about. And I just think that if that thread goes through your entire practice, you're going to win. Yeah, always. I agree with that. All right, so now we've got dinners. That was a really good one, because I hadn't heard that one before. Well, in terms of how you do that. Why that's good is now it's a lot lower touch, bud. You could go do an 8-hour screening on a Saturday. Yep. Or you could have your patients put 50 people in front of you on a Monday night for a 15-minute dinner talk. Yeah. You follow me, bud? Yeah. And the price point, you keep that in check, you keep your margins wide open, and you see the big picture of the fact that you can fill that dinner right then and there. Fill your next dinner right then and there by the referrals people will write down that just attended the dinner.
Yeah.
And you can scale that way. It gets easier and easier and easier. The hard part, I did a dinner 2 weeks in, and I got 100 people at that first dinner, 2 weeks into practice. But I had all those contacts. I had all that momentum, that energy, but they didn't really know me.
Right.
They didn't really know me. There was no testimonials yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was all just teaching, educating, and hoping more action would take place. When you have those testimonials, and when you have people that love you, and that love exudes over to the people that they also love, and then they make that connection.
Are you capturing those testimonials at the front of the room on film or on camera?
When you're saying about
like
at the actual dinner?
Yeah.
I don't know. Back then I didn't. Now we film a lot of stuff. Yeah.
You capture. I'm like, that's so much more powerful.
You can get that stuff out.
Yeah. It's so much more powerful to get a testimonial in front of other people.
Sure.
Because it's in somebody's mind. They're like, it's one thing to just be by yourself in an office saying something because the doctor's asking you to say it.
Totally.
It's another thing for them to go up and stand in front of 50 people and give their story. It's just a different. It's
and
a different.
We always
vibe.
let them know that we're going to have them do that in advance, days in advance is the goal, so that they can prepare. And normally they go off like, man, it's just so organic, and they're just shooting from the heart. And they say stuff that I never would have expected them to say.
Yeah.
They share things that they've broken through on that I never understood that they broke through on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's just like if you weren't doing that, I was going to say you should start doing that.
Totally.
So 500 to $1 million.
What I haven't done is use them. We film all kinds of stuff, bud.
Oh,
but I mean, like, I'm an amateur to get that crap back out there. You need people like
you. Got an amazing Dropbox folder.
Yeah. I got the best Dropbox out there, man. But it's going nowhere. You know what I mean, dude? So I need people like you to get it out there.
You need the amped up testimonials to like get outside your four walls.
I can collect content and create content like nobody's business is getting, and a lot of chiropractors can, but that's why agencies like yours serve a purpose, bro, to be able to help us get that to the masses. It's all levels, like I said, it's all guerrilla marketing, bro. It's like, man, it's just hugging folks and kissing babies, and I still love that today. But to really scale and leverage that, you're right on.
For sure. That's why.
That's right, brother.
There you go. I didn't even pay for that. All right, so 500 to $1 million. Dinner talks are killing it.
Yeah.
What's that next stage? Is it team? Is it associates?
Man, I'll tell you what, but it's not associates. The associates are great. I think when people are thinking that they're going to having associates, you have to have the right mindset, the right purpose for it, the right reason for it. I'm not expecting the associates to grow my practice, but when you have the right associates and the right chemistry in the team, it's inevitably gonna happen, right? But training, refining, understand that it's not some new shiny thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I was listening to Wayne Gretzky mic'd up, right? And when I was a kid, that was pretty cool. And so you're listening to him on the ice, right? And I'll never forget this. He skates over to one of his players that is about to take a face-off, and he taps him on behind. He's like, hey, so-and-so, if you're dragging, he goes, go get a new stick. And he said something there that is so true then and true today. And when we were younger, you had one stick for the whole year. My dad was a plumber, man. We got one stick, and that shit, if it was like breaking up, you just tape it tighter. You know what I mean? Right. And that stick became the backup for the following year. So if you actually broke your stick in a game, you had a shitty-ass backup stick. And I was like, never fun. But, man, when you got a new stick, and when we started playing for teams where they provided the equipment and they provided the new gear and stuff, man, you just go and grab a new stick, bro, and it felt crisp. It felt light, man. It felt nimble, bro. Your shot felt harder, man. You had a hop in your step. You grabbed that thing, you're like, pop, pop, pop. You were off, man. It was like, da, da, da. You just felt freaking crisp. You know what I'm saying? If you're ever doing something, you don't have good equipment, you feel a certain way. You know what I mean? And I always felt like my practice was going to be my home ice advantage.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to build the very best home ice advantage in healthcare. And so it was like when you go to certain stadiums, when you go play in Soldier Field, you know what I mean? They have an advantage. That cold weather, that crowd, that history, bro. Yeah. Now you just got to win. You know what I mean? Because you have all the things in your favor. Yeah. So I was going to say this. When you got the stick, man, you felt like you had a hop in your step. When you've had certain things in your favor, you feel like it gives you a hop in a step. There's never a new shiny thing that's really going to last long, in my opinion, that's going to give you that hop long term. It comes from within. And so for me, going to that $1 million practice and staying there was not getting something new. It was always refining. It was just training deeper, but it was analyzing and introspecting about how you can manage time better, how you could utilize team better, how you could help them have better clarity and understanding, and just analyze the numbers and say, okay, this is where we could really focus on that's going to give us that bump.
Got it.
sometimes it's not always about getting that new thing. Sometimes it's getting rid of some old garbage that needs to get out of there.
Yeah.
Somewhere where you've lost focus, lost passion, right? Lost conviction. And that your message is getting soft, and you're backing off because maybe somebody's rebuked you, or you got that bad review because you were coming in too hot and heavy. You know what I mean? Sometimes you look back and you can see it's something that maybe you have to give up and get back to.
Yeah.
And that's that level that really helps you refine and go higher, refine and go higher.
How much time a week do you train with the team?
So ideally, we train 1 hour at our team meetings. Ideally, is 1 hour at team meetings.
Everybody together, doctors and staff.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then we do quarterly trainings as well. But it's all different, right? You're talking about what we're doing now compared to what we did then. Well, now, normally that 1 hour a week would be fine. Normally our quarterly trainings where we go through everything would be fine. But about a year ago, I had some bad apples. So we hired off-site, trained off-site, and liquidated our team on a Thursday night and rebooted everybody on a Monday.
Wow.
That was hard when you're seeing hundreds of people a day.
Yeah.
That's hard, man.
Yeah.
And when it's like hard when you got to say, well, shit, man, I got to go back in the trenches.
I've never even heard of that before.
I've got to go back in and start doing day ones.
That's crazy.
I got to go back in and start doing reevaluations. I got to start shooting some x-rays.
Yeah.
I got to start doing this. Terry, you got to be at the front desk again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, shit, I don't want to do that, man. I got this schedule, I got that schedule, you know what I mean?
You're like, Michael, get out of the car.
That's exactly right, man. But it's like, what are you willing to do to go up? You know what I mean? What are you willing to give up to go up? And so I had to keep asking myself that question. So we rebooted. I'd never done that. I don't fire people.
I've never even heard of that. I've never heard of somebody hiring a whole nother staff.
They were all spoiled, bro.
And training them off site, and then one day just bringing them in. How many
right.
people were trained off
I
site?
let go of 4 and I brought 3 in.
3, like just staff members?
Staff members. I started an intern and a doc at that same time.
With that group?
Yeah, with that group,
Wow.
yeah. So I strategically knew that my new doc was going to start. I knew that my new intern was going to start that is now an associate doc at the practice. And I knew that I had to get rid of all the bad apples. So the only person I retained was Dr. Thomas, who you met, gave you a tour. I retained Dr. Thomas in a position that he was in because that was my commitment to him as a young doc. Yeah. And I knew he wasn't spoiled. The other ones, the bad apples spoiled the batch, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. And so it's like a horse that you have good horses that you can catch easily. They'll come to a grain bucket or will meet you at the gate. Those are like ideal horses. And then you get some prick that's like, man, he's like, you know, I mean, you're going to need a trank gun to catch him. Right. He'll spoil the whole group if you don't work on that horse to make sure he's like the other good ones. Yeah. Right. And so all of a sudden, before you go out there, you're like, my good horse, he's come to a whistle, and he's literally clearing the ranch to the other corner. I mean, it says added 30 minutes of time to catching that son of a gun. Yeah. And that happens all the time. Yeah. And so with me, I was like, man, I don't want to have to reboot everybody. I mean, I don't want to have to keep retraining one individual person, and they quit, and they quit, and they quit because of the spoiling that took place. So we rebooted, man. So our training looked a lot different, even at $1 million practice, bro. It looked a lot different at that time.
What were you doing then?
Man, we were meeting with them all the time. After shifts, we were talking about stuff. I'd sit down and I'd sew into them, and I'd write on their hearts, and I'd talk about the principles, and then we had to go back into educating. So my associate docs come in every single team meeting. They teach something about chiropractic in our team meetings now. Principles, bro. Simple things. You know what I mean? That you have to impart in them that they would have gotten organically through the process being on the team, and that I didn't have to teach everyone all at one time. Yeah. But I was like, we're going to sell them out. We're going to share testimonials. It was constantly heart mission training. I train them on the systems freeze. We have AMP. We have all the modules online. Yeah. They can watch them while they're laying in their bed. But what they can't watch are those testimonials, man. Yeah. What they can't get is meeting this person, hearing from them saying, oh my gosh, welcome. I've been coming here for 7 years. It's so nice to meet you. We love this place. Tell them about the outreach drives that we've done where we've collected hundreds of bicycles for local kids that were in need. 50 trash bags of clothing, for warm clothing drive. Or 1,000 pairs of underwear for clothes to kids, for children that don't want to get secondhand underwear. Telling them that, getting them to the mission, the heart of ADIO, man. How we won Business of the Year for Jefferson County and Golden and beat Coors Brewing. You know what I'm saying, man? In 2016, where they're like, wait a second, you guys won, you have 5 employees, you know what I mean, in a dock. Yeah. They've got thousands, and they win it every year. And we beat them. You know what I mean? It's all
I forgot to show you those too.
Oh, sweet, dude.
I just
what clown makes that stuff? What? No. You gotta say it. No,
is it Tony's brother? Like,
oh, dude, if it's Tony's brother, then he's good to go. But if Tony has a hand in that shit, man, we can use it as kindling for fire, bro. Oh my goodness! Check the oil with that shit, man. Check the oil, dude. Really freaking guy.
I was like,
I've never heard of her. What, Tony,
T-O-N-I.
Yeah, oh my goodness, man. What a clown. I love that guy, dude. You know,
I told him we were talking, and he was just like,
man, he's like,
you're like, come on up to the ranch. We got like. I'm gonna outdo Tony, no problem.
Dude,
and I was like, anything to.
I've been mentoring Tony for years, but it's it's like breaking a young colt. I'm telling you what, dude, it's like
he was the one running with the train.
That's right, dude. You got to take that cat by the bit. You know what's so cool, man, is when we opened Amped, I never even heard of Epic.
Yeah.
Never heard of Epic.
Yeah.
Epic was popular, from my understanding, on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. Well, Jackson was out there and everything else. Well, we were popular on the East Coast. Well, there was all kinds of negative shit talked by Epic towards Amped. And I'm catching wind. Everyone's like, Visky, have you seen this? You seeing this? You seeing this? And I'm like, who are these guys? I never heard of Tony Evil. I was like, man, I never heard of Tony Evil. And so I've heard of Tony Evil today, bro. But let me tell you this. I went to an event in St. Louis and Tony was there. Mm-hmm. He was bald, short, and ugly, and no beard. And I'm standing there with guys that are like freaking men with these beards. And he comes over. He's like, I really want to come over and talk to you guys, but I'm a little bit intimidated. He comes over, and he said something to me, and he apologized. He said, we didn't understand what you guys were doing, and there's some things that maybe have misconstrued. And he said, man, I appreciate what you guys are doing in chiropractic. And I love Tony Evil, man. Yeah. That's a man's man. Yeah. And he's a chiropractor's chiropractor, and that boy's not going to back down. And there can't be these organizations, these chiropractors that are so caught up on their little slice of the pie that they forget that chiropractic is the entire pie, bro. And that's what we should be pushing forward. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's going to be that 80-20, right? We're going to probably align about 80% of things, and then maybe, but that's okay. You can't rule them out completely because, and I'm not saying that Tony and I aren't 100 because I think we're 100. Yeah. But there's others that maybe that people think because they're not 100 with them that's it. Tony Evil and what Epic's doing, man, they are fantastic. I love that cat. He's still ugly as sin, and his brother is the brains behind that outfit. They are good people, man.
Dude, you guys have such a similar energy.
I appreciate that. Well, I've been mentoring him forever, dude. He's like my little protege. It's like, go get him, Tony. Go get him, Tiger. You know what I mean? That's what it is, dude. I put him on the kitty saddle when we have him out here. You know, the one that's like, it's like it mounts in front of mine, and he sits on the front of the horse, and I have him like this, and we just pull the reins. It's a great time. It's a great time. I love that guy. He'll text me shit, dude. He'll screen capture some jabroni chiropractic, and he'll send it to me. He's like, look at this asshat. And I'm like, dude, I love you so much.
I'm going to figure out, I don't know much about video editing, but I'm going to figure out how to edit this today and send him this clip. I cannot wait for this.
He's a great guy, man. But there's all kinds of great guys in chiropractic in different camps, but doing things a little bit differently and still impacting hugely. And I love it, man. I love it with all my heart.
So, over 1 million now.
What's refinement, bro?
For your practice, what is it that you are the most focused on right now?
Team. All team, bro. It's all team. I have the very best team I've ever had. And I hope that it just gets better and better and better. But I love these girls and I love these guys so much because they love what I love and they're serving out of a heart of gratitude and abundance to impact lives. They're not serving for a paycheck. They're not. You need to make sure that your team's not coming in and punching a time clock. Yeah. That they come in when the day's done, you sit back and you fellowship over all the victories and you talk about all the positive things that happened, and it's almost like, all right, guys, come on, let's get out of here. Let's get home. That's the team I have right now. Yeah. Like, they just want to sit and chill and talk about all the things that went great that day. There was times before I rebooted my team where it was like, get me the hell out of here. And I love Adio. There's never been a day that I didn't love going to Adio. I'm serious. And I would see those girls' cars in the parking lot, and I'm like, I'm gonna slice their tires. I was so pissed because I'm like, they're just so rotten about the way. This is how I knew. Because I was outside my Bobcat one day and I was spreading dirt out here. And I get a phone call on my cell phone. I didn't recognize it, but it's local. And I'm like, I just turn it on. I'm like, hello, this is Dr. Michael. And I'm like, hello? They didn't know who they were calling. They thought they were calling Adio. Well, it was a referral from a patient that I had for years that sent us some phenomenal people. And she was like, I'm going through this. So and so told me about it. And I was like, I knew about them trying to get this person in. So like, ma'am, I'll schedule you. Take care of it all. That lady comes in. Well, I'm not as involved in the day one process at that time. And so I was like, well, how did it go with Miss Carol? And they're like, oh, that bitch is crazy. And I was like, excuse me?
Your staff said that?
Yeah, my staff said that. And I was like, excuse me? And I felt like they could tell that my head was about to pop off. Like, I got so hot so fast because I'll tell you what. And I rebuked her right there in front of everybody. Her husband's a cop. Love her husband. I take care of her parents, her in-laws. I take care of everybody. And I said, excuse me? And she said, oh, well, she was just like, man, she was just so difficult and everything else. I was like, that woman is in pain. I was like, you don't know if that woman's husband didn't come home last night. You don't know what their finances look like. You don't know if their kids just ran away. You don't know if they're facing foreclosure. You don't know nothing about that woman. All we know is that she trusted us and she stepped in these four walls. And you're going to speak about a woman that way, a patient in Adio? I said, that is not the culture of Adio. It never has been. And that'll never be the culture of the Viscarellis. And I knew I was done with them right then and there. Yeah. Because they were all like looking at her. Like the other team, like kind of like shoulder to shoulder with her. Fine, be shoulder to shoulder with her in the parking lot. Right. You know what I mean? And so that's not the culture. That's right, brother. That's not the culture of our practice. And so for me, man, I knew that something had to change because the culture of your practice is what spills out into your community, and that's what your legacy will be known for. Yeah. And we're going to be known for service to our community and humanity. And so for me, bud, it's just loving on my team and making sure that we just act. So we need another team member back. Practice popping, new ones all the time, everything. We're overrun. And I'm still in the trenches all the time. And I'm like, I need to get back to amp stuff. I need to get back to mine, all that stuff. And so, but I stayed in the trenches because I wasn't going to add another, like, hack. I wasn't going to have somebody come in and spoil that batch. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we sat back for a while, and then I found this girl, man, and then I courted her, and I was like, what do you need? Do you need a signing bonus? What do you, I was like, what do you need, a car? What do you need, boots? What do you want? You know what I mean?
Photo shoot? What do you like?
So, dude, and then my girls interview, though I loved her, I let my girls interview her. I let my girls go out to dinner or coffee with her, and I took my time and stayed in the trenches, bud, because chemistry is crucial in order to maintain and sustain that $1 million practice.
Yeah. What's the biggest leadership, either book or training that you've done?
Jeremy Hess, bro.
Jeremy Hess.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm
so
teasing. No. Jeremy Hess, man. That is the guy. He's been in practice 20 years. Yeah. That guy is a rhino. Ebel tried to steal the rhino thing and let him have it. Whatever.
So cute.
Yeah, it is. He's so sweet. And so, dude, that guy is the original rhino, man. That guy is still in practice there. The other day he posted a picture of him speaking for like 3 people with like 40 seats. Only 3 people showed up. Yeah. And he's up there thundering away. Yeah. That guy is relentless, man. So whenever I have a question about what I need to do or how do I have to vet this or about team, he's had the same team with him for like 15 years of 20 in practice. It's unheard of in our profession. Yeah. I go to that man and I ask him, and he always has just an unemotional response. But probably number one podcast I've listened to is Andy Stanley's Leadership Podcast. Andy Stanley's a pastor out of Atlanta, Georgia. I was baptized in his church, and that man has set the precedence, the standard, and the curriculum for all massive non-denominational churches in America. Every church is based off of his curriculum, what they've done. So they're not.
And they seem like they're doing okay.
Oh, dude.
Denominational churches.
God, dude. The deal is this: is that they've helped let the church become a reputable business as well to impact more lives. Yeah. And chiropractic is a service, but it's a business, bro. Right. And to impact lives, we need to make sure that the back of the house and the front of the house are in sync.
Got it. You look like you're a reader. I see a lot of books around here. What are you reading right now?
I just got, I'm getting a little bit late to the party. I just bought this one last night. Hess always says that I'm a late adapter because I'm just so like growth factors. Just the subtle art of not giving an F. Yeah. And so I haven't read it yet. I'm excited to read it. I know I'm a slow adapter to that. But one thing, man, that I got to be honest with you. One thing that I learned a lot about people is what I've learned through horses, man. And I'm not a cowboy. I'm learning to be a horseman. I'm learning to be a horseman. Yeah. One of my best friends, Jacob Sims, out in Western Slope, Colorado. We hunt on horseback. We're raising Morgans together. We're breeding Morgans. and his father's a horseman, and his father's connected with people. And I've learned so much about leadership, about training, about overcoming obstacles and the unexpected things in the saddle, bro. I'm telling you what, man, the things that you can't predict, the things to get that horse to do what you need it to do when it needs to be done. It's not with a heavy hand. It's not with frustration. It's only with patience and coaxing and courtship and such. And I've learned a lot. We've been through some scary situations. We've been victorious. We've been injured, and I'm still learning. And I'll tell you this: surrounding yourself with people that have your back, people that are sold out for the mission, people of congruent like-mindedness, that are not just good chiropractors for me, that are phenomenal husbands, outstanding fathers, are integrity-filled men, then they have great practices. But it all starts with us as guys. You know, I mean, I have guys that like, hey man, hey listen, listen, I told the wife I had a meeting tonight, I got out early. You want to go to the brewery and grab a beer? And I'm like, no man, I want to get home to my family. I'll have a beer at the house of my wife. You know what I'm saying, bud? Yeah. And so much of that, from what we read and who we surround ourselves and who we allow speak into our lives, is a direct reflection of what happens in the four walls of that practice and what our legacy will look like. I want to be known as an outstanding father and a man that loved his wife right to the finish line and never backdoored her. That's what I want to be known as. Well, when I can do that, freaking practice is a walk in the park, man. It's a walk in the park. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I got a tough wife, man. I mean, she's a cowgirl, dude. She freaking, if she can control a 1,200-pound animal, I'm nothing, dude. And so I've learned to not always be right. I've learned through good reading, through good mentorship, and through good friends, that when we argue, we discuss to make a decision. We don't fight to be right. We're not perfect at it, but we're learning, man. And when you can bring that humility from your marriage into your practice and lead a team that way, bud, and that team member knows that they have a voice, but they'll serve their brains out for your facility and your community. And I tell you, that's that $1 million secret, in my opinion, bud. And it's worked out really well for me. Chiropractic, and I know it has for you, bud. I mean, you just came from Vail to go ski. You're not skiing landfills in Illinois like freaking Evil is down there. You know what I mean? I see him out there. He's driving around in like some like Yamaha side by side. I'm like, shit, bro, get successful and get a Polaris or Can-Am. I mean, what is he doing out there, man? I mean, on that farm, I'm like, he's like herding chickens. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Put him in the coop, get the eggs, get over it, get a horse, bro. And so anyway, with that being said. With that, I don't know how I say.
I just love that the last half of this has turned into the Tony Evil Bash show.
Let me explain this to you. The fellowship in chiropractic lets us all be more successful together.
Yeah.
And how chiropractic has blessed that man's life through the lives he's impacted through his facility and through Epic, and how you guys are blessing lives and how because of how chiropractic has blessed you. Bro, we have a lot to give back to chiropractic. We owe a lot to chiropractic. And it's our responsibility to leave it in a better state than where we found it. Not to rape it and milk it and cash out like they did in the 80s. Now we have to fight for 5 freaking visits to be covered by United Healthcare. Get the hell out of here, man. Those people raped this profession, in my opinion, bro. We will not. We will not. We will leave it in a better place than where we found it.
Yeah, I've got like an hour's more questions for you, but I feel like this is such a good spot to end. I'm going to have you back on so that we can talk more about Amped and some of the other businesses you're doing. But man, we just met, but I have a feeling we're going to be friends for a long time. You are a special dude, and I just think that you're doing things the right way, and I appreciate you for having me out, especially out to the ranch.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
All right, man. All right, guys, we will see you on the next one. Let us know if you have any questions. That was some fire interview, so we'll see you on the next episode.
Just because this episode is over doesn't mean you can't continue your path to $1 million practice. We've created chiropractic's most full-service marketing agency at Leverage Media to help you reach $1 million a year fast and continue to grow. You can get a free strategy session with me absolutely free right now. To get started, go to getmemorenewpatients.com. Once again, go to getmemorenewpatients.com, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Path to $1 Million podcast.